So you can make your way to your back and start to get nice and comfy. Nice, and it's up to you. You can let your legs out long or any version of Shavasana that you like. Just try to see if you can get kind of no distractions from your physical body so that you can start to draw your awareness inside. Start to first feel your body. Feel the weight of your body on your mat. Feel any sensations moving through your body. Doing a scan from toes, up your legs into your hips, up your spine, out through your fingertips, and up the crown of your head. And just feeling the sensations, that feeling of having a body. And then starting to notice your breath, the air moving through your body. And almost imagining that you could follow it to each and every cell in your body. And let every breath guide you deeper into the present moment, deeper into your mat. And maybe starting a little bit of your pranayama, your breath control. This time, maybe seeing if you could turn your focus, turn your concentration to those brief pauses at the top of your inhale and the bottom of your exhale. Try to find those brief pauses. And if you want, you can play around maybe with lengthening those pauses, retaining your breath. Kumbhaka is what they call it. Especially at the bottom of your exhale. And if it starts to feel a little uncomfortable holding your breath at the bottom of that exhale, just start to think about the correlation with trust. Just trusting that that inhale will come. And then feeling a wonderful feeling of gratitude the second that you inhale after retaining your breath on that exhale. And just for a few more breaths, if you want, you can practice something called box breathing, where you inhale for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 4, and hold for the count of 4. So that box breathing, nice and soft, completely smooth and steady. So just take a few more breaths, maybe exploring this kind of breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can return your breath back to that natural, effortless breath and just enjoy one last moment here in that inner world where nothing exists except your breath, your body, and your mind. And see how much you can connect those three things, how much you can synchronize them. Breath, body, mind. And whenever you're ready, you can start to expand your awareness just a little bit out of your body. Start to deepen your breath as well. And then start to gently wake your body up, joint by joint, introducing some movements. They can be small movements or big movements. Anything that feels good and organic to wake your physical body up slowly. And eventually you can flicker your eyes open to adjust to the light. And let's take a nice full body stretch again, sending our arms overhead, maybe even bringing the heels in together at the bottom of your mat. And just kind of lengthening out of each of those joints. Maybe reaching each hand a little higher than the opposite hand to get each side a little longer than the other. Each breath still goes into the belly. We'll take one last inhale to fill everything up on the top. And on the exhale, let's bring both knees into the chest one at a time and just hold on to the shins as we rock from side to side, enjoying that flexion in the hip, the closing of the hip. Like I say, we're going to focus on internal and external rotation of the hips today. Perfect. And then you can come to stillness in the center and just start to make circles with both of your knees. So you're just kind of moving them in opposite directions. Your hands can just kind of be along for the ride, or else maybe they guide them into a little bit bigger circles. Beautiful. And then we'll go ahead and switch directions there, balancing things out. Nice. And let's take a nice twist. So we'll come to stillness in the center, send the arms out to a T, and let both knees drift down to the left first to get that spinal twist. Shimmying that right hip on top of the left so that you really get into your spinal twist, pushing the right shoulder blade into the mat. And maybe looking out past your right fingertips, getting your neck in on the twist. And then we'll bring our gaze up to the center on the inhale and squeeze those knees back up to center and over to the opposite side, to the right side, stacking left hip on top of right. And maybe looking out past your left fingertips to get the cervical spine into your twist as well. Deep breaths into the belly. And then we'll go ahead and bring our gaze up to the center, bring the knees back up to the center again. And now we're going to move into that figure four. So we'll let the left sole of the foot come down on the mat, cross right ankle over left thigh, and pull into the deepest version of this pose to get into the right outer hip. So you can rock from side to side if that feels good. Every exhale, maybe you squeeze that left knee even tighter into your body. Nice. Last breath here. And we'll slowly let go and let the left sole of the foot drift down to the mat. And let's go ahead and come up to our elbows. And then come up all the way to the palms, keeping your figure four now. Sorry, your right ankle still over the left thigh. So you're in that seated figure four. And now let's push into your palms to lift your chest up even higher. Maybe your gaze is to the ceiling or the sky. Or maybe you just let the head hang behind you if it doesn't feel too crunchy. So just take a couple breaths with this open chest, getting deep into the right glute. Perfect. And now slowly we'll bring our gaze back up to center to face forward. And we'll move into the fish pose. So, or sorry, the Matsyendrasana. Left heel goes close to the right glute and the right foot comes down on the ground. Perfect. Now let's take our right hand and squeeze, the left hand and squeeze the right knee in towards your chest. So you're closing off the hip and then start to twist, looking back over your right shoulder. So there should be a bit of a stretch on the outer right hip, but also a closing of the right inner hip. So use that forearm on the left side to pull you tighter. And twist even deeper each exhale. Beautiful. Now let's bring our gaze back to center and then slowly unravel shoulders to face forward. And we'll go back from where we came. So we'll go back down to our elbows and then down to our backs. Now this time, slide the right knee more over the left knee and reach up to clasp both ankles. And then return your head back down to the mat while pulling your ankles closer towards you. So again, you're in that Supta Gomukhasana, the cow face pose, but on your back. So feel the sensations here in both hips. Beautiful. Let's take a last breath. And then we'll super slowly start to unravel, sending both toes up towards the sky. So let's get into the hamstrings. Perfect. And then we'll just do that little sequence on the other side. So we'll bend into the knees and let the right sole of the foot drift down. Left ankle goes over right thigh and reach through your figure four to clasp onto that right leg, returning your head back down to enjoy that left outer hip stretch. Bringing any movement into your ankles, toes, spine, any movements that feel good. But don't forget to pull tighter each exhale to get deeper into the hip there. All right, we'll come to stillness there and drift the right sole of the foot down, coming up to our elbows first, and then up to the palms behind you. Push the palms against your mat to lift your chest up to the sky, pulling the left knee away from you, and then you move your gaze to wherever feels good for you. Nice. Beautiful. Last breath, and we'll slowly bring our gaze to be forward, and then go ahead and tuck your right heel on the outside of that left hip, and use your right hand to hug that left knee in tight. Feel the closing of the left hip. And then send your left hand back so you can get a little twist going here. Really stretching out the outside of the left hip and closing the inside of the left hip. Gaze is eventually out past the left shoulder if that feels all right. Deep breaths into the nose and into the belly as well. Beautiful. Now let's bring our gaze forward and slowly unravel the shoulders. And then again, go back from where we came, down to the elbows. And right sole of the foot's down, all the way down. Now let's cross that left knee even more over the right and reach up to grab both of the ankles and return your head while you get deeper into this stretch. Any movements are fine, dynamic stretching, anything that feels good. Nicely done. All right, and now let's super slowly start to unravel, sending your toes up to the sky again. And let's pull into a happy baby. So bend into the knees, flex into your feet, and clasp onto the pinky side of your feet. And enjoy opening up the hips like this, pulling the knees down. Beautiful. And if you want a little bit more pressure to pull down into the hips, you can change your grip to the inside of the heels to use extra strength to pull down on the heels to get into the hips a bit more. All right, let's just take one last breath. And then we'll go ahead and bring the knees together, letting go. And we'll start to rock and roll ourselves up into a boat pose. So just start to enjoy the movement of your spine along your mat. And eventually, we'll just come up into hover into the boat pose. Starting with the half boat pose, we'll use our hands behind our knees to push our chest forward and pull the shoulders back. And then pull into whatever version of your boat pose that you like. Maybe bending one leg at a time or straightening out both legs, whatever feels good. We just want to be strong here. And I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but the boat pose is as much about strengthening your hip flexors as it is about strengthening the core. So we're strengthening our hips here. Perfect. Last breath. Lift that chest. Beautiful. And then slowly drift your toes down to the mat. And then we're going to move into a 90-90. So bring your left thigh forward and your right thigh back. So I don't know if you can see, but my left thigh is coming straight out of my pelvis, and my left calf is at a perfect 90 degree to the front thigh. And then on my trailing leg, same thing. It's shooting out of the pelvis at a 90, and then my calf is also at the 90 degree here. So take a moment to nest yourself, and this might already feel pretty intense, but here we're gonna do a couple of stretches. We're gonna walk first forward over the front leg, almost like a pigeon pose, kinda, but we're focused on the back leg as well. Perfect, and then we'll walk back up, lifting the chest up tall. Now this is the kind of tough part. It might feel a little strange, but we're gonna twist towards the trailing leg. So to get a little twist, and then see if you're able to maybe walk a little bit forward down over that outstretched thigh. So it feels very strange, but it is good for you, I promise. Perfect. So take one last breath here. And then slowly walk yourself back up through center and take a counter twist. So twist the other way, taking your right hand onto the left knee to twist yourself back. Perfect. Now the last little strengthening exercise we'll do here is to come back to center, point your toe in the back, and then push into your toe to lift the knee up and down just a couple times. Now I know it's a kind of a tough feeling. It's a weird feeling in the right hip, but it's strengthening you up. So just lift it a couple times. Maybe you do it hands-free to work on that functional movements. Perfect. Last time. And then now we're going to switch over to the other side, but again, we're going to see if we don't use any hands. So lean to the left and just bring the right leg forward and set yourself up on the other side. Perfect. So again, create those 90 degrees. I know it's tough to see me here. I don't have a lot of space, but try to create those 90 degrees. Now again, this might be enough because this is intense, but then maybe you want to walk yourself forward first. Perfect. Take one breath here. And then you can walk yourself back. And this is the awkward part. We'll twist towards the trailing thigh. And again, this might be enough, or maybe you can walk yourself a little bit forward over that trailing thigh. It really depends on your skeleton here as well, how far you can go. So definitely don't judge yourself if you don't go too far. Perfect. Now let's walk ourselves back up through center. Move to the opposite side, twisting around the other side. Left hand this time comes onto the right knee to let yourself twist a little more. Beautiful. Then we'll come back to center and finish up this little series, pointing into the back leg, pushing into the big toe as you lift the left knee up. So maybe you're doing it hands-free, just lifting it up and down, working on that strength inside the hip. Just maybe for 3 breaths, 2 more times. Nicely done. Last time here. And then again, we won't use our hands. We'll lean over to the right as we bring the left foot forward. Nice. And just lengthen your legs out straight and just shake your knees out and move your feet from side to side, just kind of resetting the hips. Nicely done, guys. Let's start to flow. So we'll bring our feet behind us and come into a tabletop. And maybe just enjoy your tabletop here, just moving into your hips and your shoulders, just to kind of get a little feel of what's going on here. Nicely done. And then whenever you're ready, when you're done enjoying your spinal movements, let's pull up into our first downward facing dog. So we'll bring our hands forward, tuck our toes, and just enjoy that feeling. And then same thing in your downward dog, just feel it out. Enjoy any movements that feel good.
maybe with our closing of the hips, maybe you want to pull into a three-legged downward dog and opening up the hips a little bit as well. So just kind of do whatever feels good here. Beautiful. And when you're ready, we'll settle into that downward facing dog, really driving chest and heels down, tailbone up. And we'll bring our big toes to touch. And then we'll inhale the right heel up towards the sky. And we'll exhale to squeeze the right knee in tight as we plant the right foot and left knee and rise to that Anjaneyasana. Let's stretch out the left psoas a little bit after we were working on the hips. So really lean forward and feel that stretch. Beautiful. We'll take one last inhale to lengthen your fingertips. And then we'll exhale, bringing our hands down as we send the hips back to that Ardha Hanumanasana, straightening into the right leg. Perfect. Now you can put all the weight into your left palm as you float the right fingertips up to the sky and bring the left hip forward, right hip back so that you feel that closing of the hip again. Big inhale. And let's exhale to float that right hand down and start to pull out of this. So bend into the right knee, frame that right foot, tuck the left toes, and step yourself back to plank, nice and strong plank. And on our exhale, you can either do Chaturanga or maybe you want to come down to the knees first and then lower your whole body down. Untuck those toes and inhale to your first cobra. Really feel heavy in the pelvis. That'll stretch the psoas out. And then on the exhale, tuck your chin, move through tabletop, and pull up to that downward facing dog again. Nice. All right, and we'll inhale left heel up to the sky this time. And exhale left knee to chest, planting the left foot and right knee, untucking that toe to rise into your Anjaneyasana, and sinking really forward to get into that right psoas. It's an important part of strengthening the hips as well. Last inhale, lengthen those fingertips as high as you can. Breathe into the belly. And exhale, float your hands down. Send your hips back, straightening left leg, getting into your hamstring here on this side. Keep driving right hip forward. And you can plant your right palm down on the mat as you lift the left fingertips up towards the sky this time, twisting towards that outstretched leg. Crazy balance pose and getting into the outside of the left leg as well. Last inhale. And we'll exhale the left hand back down, bend into the left knee, and make our way back to our plank, tucking those right toes, super strong plank. And again, it's up to you here if you want to go Chaturanga or maybe go knees first, and then the whole body comes down. Inhale into your second back bend. Maybe it's a little deeper, but let those hips be heavy down to the ground. And exhale, tuck that chin and move back to your downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths here, enjoying that inversion. And then whenever you feel ready, you can start to make your way to Uttanasana, that forward fold at the top of your mat. And enjoy your forward fold however you like to, swaying or moving the center of gravity from toes to heels, anything you like to do in your forward fold. Nice, relaxing those head, neck, and shoulders. And then also getting into the backs of the legs, maybe straightening the legs a little bit, or even hugging the backs of your calves to hug yourself tight in towards your legs, getting into the hamstrings. Perfect, and when you feel like you're nice and stretched out and ready to flow, you can start to bend your knees, tuck your chin, let your hands dangle as you slowly roll yourself up. One vertebra at a time. Your head is the last to just kind of pop on, stacking the vertebra. Beautiful. And you can shake yourself off a little bit. Just get used to standing up here. And then we will meet in our mountain pose, getting ready to flow. So really establish that mountain pose nicely. Feel really rooted into the earth.
but also feel that connection to the sky with the crown of your head. And here we go. We'll inhale to lengthen the fingertips, reaching tall. Breathing into the belly. Exhale, strong spine, forward fold. Inhale to that half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to your plank. Chaturanga. We'll inhale, chest pulls forward, shoulders pull back, upward dog. And exhale, tuck that chin, push your mat away to lift yourself into your downward dog. And take those 5 breaths. Those 5 breaths that connect you with your mind, body. All right, last breath here. And we'll exhale our feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, get that hamstring stretch. Exhale, relax into the forward fold. Inhale, root and rise. Talasana, really lengthen. Exhale, you're back in your strong Tadasana. Beautiful. Let's go again a little faster. Inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank. Chaturanga. Inhale to the back bend, upward dog. Exhale to the downward facing dog. Take those 5 breaths. Slow everything down. Beautiful. Next, exhale, feet are at the top of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, your half lift. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhales, reverse swan dive, reach, belly fills up. Exhale, Tadasana. Nicely done. Let's move on to Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, chair pose. Sink those hips down, bend into the knees. Feel heavy in the back of the pelvis while you reach for the sky with your fingers. Big inhale, belly expands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to your half lift. Feel what's going on in your hips as well. If you're lifting your tailbone, the hips are closing. Exhale, plank. Chaturanga. Inhale to the upward dog. Exhale to the downward dog. Inhale, right heel pulls up to the sky. Exhale, right knee to chest. Squeeze it in tight. Plant right foot, plant left heel. And you're in your warrior 1, Virabhadrasana. Feel those hips, especially the left hip. Tuck your pelvis to feel it even more. Big inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plank pose. Chaturanga. Inhale to the upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left heel to the sky. Exhale, left knee to chest. Virabhadrasana, plant that left foot and rise. Tuck your pelvis to feel the extra stretch along the right psoas. Inhale, nose to belly. Exhale, plank. Bend those elbows. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, use the core to lift the hips up. Downward facing dog, take those 5 breaths. Go through your downward dog checklist. You know the drill. Fingertips are super wide. Tailbone sticks up to the sky. Chest and heels draw downward. Let's exhale our feet to the top of the mat. Inhale to that half lift. Feel the closing of the hips. Exhale, relax into your forward fold.
Inhale, we're in our chair pose. Sink those hips down. Reach for the sky. Tucking that pelvis and feeling heavy in the heels. Big inhale and exhale. Strong Tadasana. All right, guys, let's do a little flow that targets those hips again. Inhale, lengthen into Talasana. Exhale, fold forward into the forward fold. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, plank pose, Chaturanga. Bend your elbows to lower. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale to your downward dog. And we'll inhale that right heel up to the sky. And we'll open up the hips, pushing the left hip forward as we bend into right knee and pull it up to the sky. So really pull that right knee like it was gonna touch the sky while the left hip pulls forward. You can move into the wild thing if you want, flipping your dog over and reaching forward with those right fingertips. And on your exhale, you can flip back over nice and strong, sending right leg out long on the inhale, and then exhale, right knee to chest. Plant your right foot, plant your left heel. You're in your warrior one here. Beautiful. Take a moment to build that pose. Left hip pulling forward, right hip pulling back. Drive the pinky side of your left foot into the mat while you pull the left hip forward. Beautiful. Now let's move into our eagle chair, bringing arms forward, bending at the elbows. Left elbow comes on top of right. Find that bind. Shift weight forward and bind that left knee over the right, choosing whichever bind you're looking for in the back. Or you can kickstand the left foot. Beautiful. Really focus on the hips. You're strengthening those hips. Sink down deeper if you've got it. Find 2 more breaths here. All right, now let's keep our hands exactly the way they are, and we'll slowly unravel the left leg, pulling it back out to our warrior 3 with our eagle arms. So we're still strengthening our hip there on the right side. Pulling the left hip down, driving the right hip up. Find that strength. Beautiful. Now we'll start to unravel the arms, sending them out long into your airplane arms. Take a breath there. And then we'll start to lift our torso as we bring our palms together. Left knee comes to chest, and then sink into your awkward chair. Left ankle over right thigh. Sink down into your awkward chair, getting into the outside of the left hip. And you're also strengthening the right hip, the stabilizing hip. So get nice and strong here. Find that unmoving spot. Slow the breath. Beautiful. Now let's start to lift the chest up. Bring left knee back to chest, and then start to send it back to the crescent pose. So eventually, super slow, left toes touch down, drive the left heel back, and lift those fingers up to the sky. Right knee is generally over the right heel there. If you want the back bend, go ahead and lift the sternum up to the sky, getting a bit of a back bend there. Perfect. Now we'll come back through center, and we'll just open up to the warrior 2. So left heel comes down, arms come parallel. Beautiful. And then we'll take 1 breath here, and then we'll reverse the warrior, flipping right palm up and reaching back. But this time we'll reach the front arm forward in front of our body, the left arm. So almost like you're wringing the body out. Beautiful. Be nice and strong here. Reaching with the right fingertips as long as you can. Take a big inhale to the belly. And then we'll exhale all the way through our warrior 2 into the Trikonasana. So straighten right legs, send left hip back to the sky. Beautiful. Pulling the left hip back, right hip forward. Sorry guys, I think my internet's a bit shocky. Anyways, we're breathing deeply in our Trikonasana here. And then we'll go ahead and look down at our right big toe and float our left hand down. So we're closing off the hips here. Now we'll move into our Parivrita Trikonasana, the revolved triangle. So here, the left hand is on the outside of right leg and float the right fingertips up to the sky. If you have the space and can bring your left palm down to a block or to the ground, to your mat, go ahead and do that in that revolved triangle. Perfect. So keep on driving left hip towards your right big toe. And your gaze can follow the right thigh for your balance, the Parivrita Ardha Chandrasana. So you can bend into the right knee and push your weight forward and see if you can launch that left leg up into the revolved half moon. Play around with that, really strengthening the hips here. If you're able to lift your left hand off of the mat, that'll be really strengthening for the hip there on the right side. So find one last breath if you've got it in you. And then we'll super slowly start to bend into that stabilizing leg. Left toes touch down. And we're all back in that revolved triangle. The right hand floats down. Start to bend into the right knee as you rise into your warrior one. Beautiful. Nice job, guys. Let's take a moment here just to reset. And when you're ready, we'll inhale and get ready to Vinyasa. Our exhale guides us to plank pose, down to Chaturanga. The inhale lifts our chest, shoulders are back, upward dog. Exhale, push your mat away, downward facing dog. And just take a moment here, just take 3 breaths. If you need to come down to your child's pose to just kind of have a breather before we finish off with the other side, you can go right ahead. But we just got our 3 breaths. Beautiful. Now let's pull on to the other side. On our inhale, we'll float the left heel up to the sky for the 3-legged. And then we'll open up those hips, left hip stacking on top of right, bending into the left knee. If you would like to flip your dog to the wild thing, go for it. Floating the left foot down, reaching forward with the left fingers and lifting those hips. And on your exhale, how slowly can you flip that dog back over? And then we'll all stack our hips, squaring them up. Inhale the left leg long. Exhale, left knee to chest. Plant left foot, right heel, and rise to that warrior. Yes, take a moment to establish this pose. Get strong in the lower back by tucking the pelvis under. Reach tall. Breathe into the nose, into the belly. Beautiful. Now we're going to our eagle. So you can bring those arms forward, bend into the elbows. Right elbow is on top of left. Choose the bind for your hands. Send that weight forward and choose the bind for your legs. Crossing right leg over left. And either kickstanding that right toe or wrapping it behind the left shin or left calf. Take a few breaths here, sinking into the hips. So again, last week we focused on the arms. This week, just focus on those hips, bringing them down. Get strong in the hip. All right, and now we're gonna keep our arms the way they are and start to unravel the right leg. Send it out long for the Virabhadrasana 3 with eagle arms. Be strong in the lower back, but pull the right hip down, squared in line with the left hip. Find strength here. Perfect. Now we'll slowly unravel our hands and send them out to airplane arms for one breath. And then we'll bring our palms to our heart as we lift the torso up. Right knee comes to chest. And then sink into your awkward chair. Right ankle over left thigh. Sink deep into that awkward chair. Get the stretch in the right hip this time. Slowing the breath down. Finding that unmoving spot and really sinking deep to get the stretch. You're also strengthening that left hip a crazy amount now. All right, and we'll start to lift that torso up. Right knee comes to chest. And how slowly can you start to send it back to your crescent pose? Lifting your fingers up to the sky and touching down those right toes, driving the right heel back and lifting the fingertips up to the sky. Beautiful. Get that back bend if you're looking for it, lifting the sternum up even more. Inhaling into the belly. Beautiful, and then we'll come back through center and open up to that warrior two. Right heel comes down, hips open up, arms are parallel to your mat. Beautiful, I feel like I'm losing you guys. So you're in your warrior, you've opened up to your warrior two now. I might have lost you. Beautiful. Yes, there we are. Gotcha. Now we'll reverse the warrior. Flip the left palm up and reach back, reversing the warrior. Send that right arm forward, pulling it forward as you pull the right hand back. So see if the right arm can come in front of your body. Yes. Beautiful. Big inhale. And then we'll exhale all the way to Trikonasana. So through warrior two, straighten left leg, push right hip back, reach with left fingers, and fold yourself into your Trikonasana. Beautiful. Right fingertips up to the sky. Feel that opening in the hips. Nicely done. Last breath. We'll bring our gaze down to our left big toe. And slowly bring the right hand down, squaring off the hips. You can adjust your stance here if you want, bringing the toes inwards a little more. Now the right hand goes to the outside of the left leg or pinky side of the left foot, and you can float the left fingertips up to reverse or revolve your triangle. Beautiful. Get that closing of the hip. Now, if you want to practice that balance, you can start to bend into your left leg, the front leg, push your weight forward, and see if you can float that right leg up behind you, even if it's just a couple inches off of the ground. Beautiful. Maybe you lift those right fingertips to really let the hips strengthen this move. Beautiful. Take a last breath. And then we'll slowly start to bend into that front leg, drifting the right toes down, straightening left leg so we're back in the revolved triangle. And then we'll slowly float the left hand down, start to bend into your front leg as you rise up to that warrior one. Beautiful. Now let's just take one moment to reset. And whenever you're ready, we'll take inhale into the belly and we'll exhale Vinyasa. So step it back to plank. Bend your elbow, lower your Chaturanga. Inhale to the upward dog and exhale to that downward facing dog. Nicely done. Take 5 breaths here. Nice job. Last breath. And then we'll move into our pigeon pose. So on your inhale, you can float your right heel up towards the sky. On your exhale, squeeze your right knee into your chest and then place it by the right wrist, bringing the shin down and sliding the left leg down behind you. We'll tent our fingers to push into them to lift the sternum up high, get that back bend. And on the exhale, just walk yourself forward to get into that deep outer right hip stretch.
Nicely done.
If you want to intensify this stretch just a little bit, you can press into your right palm and thread your left hand underneath your right armpit and rest your left shoulder and temple down on the ground to get a bit of a twist in there. Slow down your breath and see how much more you have to surrender. Beautiful. You've got 3 last breaths. Really, really relax. Find any tension and relax out of it. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to press into your palms and walk them into your push-up position. Now we're going to move straight from pigeon to the Gomukhasana. So you can lean over to the right and bring that left leg all the way forward and see if you can cross it over the left knee. If you need to, you can just bring the left foot down if that feels better. Otherwise, see if you're able to stack those knees. In fact, sometimes I lean forward to get the knees nice and stacked and then sit back. And to intensify this, you'll push your ankles more and more forward. Perfect. So here first, we'll go ahead and hold on to the backs of our feet, and you can give yourself a nice little massage on the ball of your feet. That stimulates your kidney meridian, if you feel like it. Kind of also takes your mind away. Sometimes this is a painful pose for some. Beautiful. So we'll take 2 more breaths. And then here we'll go ahead and twist towards the left. So take the right hand and place it on the left knee and use it as leverage to twist towards the left. Maybe looking out past your left shoulder if that feels all right. Beautiful. And then we'll slowly unravel and twist over to the other side now as well. Beautiful. We'll unravel back towards the center, slowly lean towards the right and undo that leg. And then just put your hands in the downward dog position and pull yourself back to the downward facing dog. Nicely done, guys. We just have that other side to do, and then we'll roll onto our backs. So let's go ahead and float the left heel up towards the sky. And on our exhale, left knee comes to chest and then to left wrist, planting your shin wherever it feels good, sliding that right leg back long. Kind of take a moment to nest into the pigeon, and then I like to press into my tented fingers to lift the sternum, and then slowly walk the belly button down onto the left shin and the whole body down. Beautiful, slowing the breath down nicely. And if you're looking for your twist on this side to intensify things, you can press into the left palm and thread that right hand underneath the left armpit, bringing your right shoulder and temple down to the mat. You'll feel a bigger closing in the left hip if you do it that way, and opening in that left hip as well, in the outer left hip. Beautiful. You've got 2 or 3 last breaths here. Really give up that control, surrender to the pose. And then you can slowly press into the left palm or both your palms to walk your hands to that push-up position. And again, we're going to move to that Gomukhasana. So you can lean over towards the left and bring the right leg forward and over into whatever version you're looking for here. And again, if you're trying to stack those knees, you can lean forward to really shimmy them down. And then inch the ankles more and more forward till you find a really good position that gets your stretch. And again, you can hold on to the balls of your feet, or maybe you interlace your fingers into each toe to spread out the toes this time. Almost like a yogi handshake. Spreading out our toes because they're always shoved into shoes. Beautiful. Taking a couple last breaths here. All right, and then we'll let go and we'll start to twist to the right. Left hand comes onto the right knee to use it as leverage to twist into the right shoulder. Maybe looking out past the right shoulder if that feels good. And then super slowly, we'll start to twist back towards center and twist over to the opposite side, getting that counter twist in. Beautiful, last breath. And we'll slowly bring ourselves back through center here. And now this time we're just going to lean back into our palms and see if we can just do the can-can. So just lift that right leg up and left leg up. And then just bring the feet in front of you. Let them be super wide and just do a couple of those nice windshield wipers. So just back and forth with the knees. Enjoying the release on the hips here. They might be pretty fragile. So it's up to you how fast you like to go or slow. Beautiful. All right, whenever you feel nice and balanced here, we can just bring the knees up to the center and we'll start to roll ourselves down onto our back. So nice and slowly rolling yourself down. Nice, and we'll go ahead and slide our heels in towards the glutes and then send them out wide to the edges of your mat. And then allow your knees to drift in towards the midline. So you're really closing the hips off. If you want, you can shimmy your heels even wider than the mat. Everyone's skeleton is different. Some people can actually bring their knees to touch down onto the floor. That's not me, but some people can do that. So feel free to get into whatever expression of this pose feels good for you. And just enjoy this closing of the hips. Slowing the breath down. All right, then you can go ahead and heel toe your feet back towards the center. One at a time, bring your knees in towards the chest and rock from side to side, enjoying that movement. And then let's move into a happy baby to finish things off here. So we'll flex into the feet. Bring the soles of the feet to face the sky and hold on to the pinky sides of those feet. Pulling down into the knees and enjoying whatever movements come naturally here. Beautiful. All right, and then whenever you're ready, you can slowly start to let go of your feet. And let's take 5 breaths to do whatever last little stretch that you want to do here. What is your body wanting you to do? Maybe there's a twist in you. Maybe a shoulder stand. Anything that's kind of calling you to finish off your practice here. Winding everything down. Beautiful. And whenever you're ready, absolutely no rush whatsoever, you can start to make your way slowly to that final resting posture.
We obviously really, really work those hips out. So start to draw your attention to your hips. Feel them melt into your mat. And just for a few moments here, go back to that peaceful place inside of you. Enjoy your breath flowing through your body. And enjoy your Shavasana. And slowly and gently expanding your awareness out of your body and into your room. Maybe gently deepening your breath. And then gently waking up your body with some subtle little movements. And whenever you feel ready, you can start to bend into your knees and roll over onto any side. And just take a couple of breaths, enjoying this feeling. And when you feel ready, you can press yourself up into your seated position. And then we'll go ahead and bring our palms together at our hearts in the Anjali Mudra. And you can bow your head if you like, gently opening your eyes to adjust to the light. Thank you guys so much for sharing your practice with me. I love to see your faces. Namaste.
Very cool.